Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Empowerment Podcast. It is episode number 1 of 2024. It's your boy, Mikey G, coming to you live from the free state of Florida. And I am joined by the gunslinger himself, the champion of the Second Amendment. He is my boy. He is your boy. He is the man that's making testosterone famous. Once again, everybody get on the T train. And I'm not talking about Greggy T train. It is the testosterone train. It is my pleasure to introduce the man, the myth, the legend, Greg A. Fedora, number 1. Sir, happy Thursday and happy New Year, my friend.
Happy 2024, Mike. Appreciate that. How you doing this fantastic week?
I'm doing marvelous. Everything is good. Life is good. We got a rocking start to the new year. Got a lot of stuff going on. So we're ready to rock and roll, sir. How are you?
I'm good, man. Super busy and just moving forward with things. Moving forward. That's all you could do.
I would say you're progressing forward.
Yes.
And forever. And how is your website going there, sir? Give the audience a little insight on how business is going.
Everything's good, man. Just actually working on a marketing workshop for a firm that I did a little speech for a couple weeks ago, and
Nice.
I'm gonna do like a 1-week marketing seminar for them, which is great. They need it, so got some good feedback. So just working on that.
Very nice, Greggy T. And where can the audience find us? Usually we say this at the end, but in the beginning here, since we're talking about it, where can they find you, sir, and your services?
foreverprogress.com, Forever Progress on Instagram, YouTube channel, the whole 9. So just hit me up, and would love to talk and help you out if you are an existing real estate agent, or if you're thinking of getting your license and you want to just fast track into reality instead of all the bullshit noise that's out there from someone that has done it from the beginning.
That's right. And, there's no price you can pay for experience. But
correct.
For a nominal fee, Greggy T can give you all his experience in a...
less than a cup of coffee a day, Mike. Yep.
And God knows I love coffee.
Yes, me as well. I'm back. Told you I'm back.
Thank God.
Yeah, I missed it.
Yeah, well, welcome back. It's funny. I was going to brew number 4, but I said, before I foam at the mouth, let me just know my limits here. As usual, I want to give a shout out to our firemen, our policemen and women, our firewomen, our EMTs, our first responders. Thank you for all that you do. And today we are promoting, and I am wearing my Tunnels to Tower Foundation. For $11 a day, you can help out a service member have a better quality of life. So I encourage you all to go to tunneltowers.org and find out more how you can be a part of it.
It's a great organization. My mom's a part of it. Love what they do. They actually do what they say and say what they mean. So it's nice to see that. And just want to give a shout out to all the military personnel out there, overseas, here at home, their families. Thank you very much for the ultimate sacrifice. I have a buddy of mine that's actually going to Africa in a couple months. And because that's a nice little hot spot right now. Well, it's been a hot spot for a minute. No one's talking about it, but stay safe out there and come back.
There's a lot of things we're not talking about.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I know one thing for sure, Greg. I know this for an absolute certain. My name and your name was not on the Epstein flight list.
Definitely not. Definitely. That's a fact.
No bueno on that.
Another joke.
But moving forward, Greggy T. Mm-hmm. So we talked about New Year's resolutions last year. Hope everybody had a chance to check it out. If you have not checked it out, you can go to our website, empowermentpodcast.com, our YouTube channel, and other social media outlets to get little snippets of what we talked about. We see on social media a lot of people, and today's topic is about attention seeking. We all want validation from some external source, whether it's our family, our friends. We have a hard time, I think, validating ourselves coming from within. And I see on social media, you see a lot of people that will go through a breakup and they'll post all the things they want to do, which is great, But I think when people look at that, it can kind of slur the image of who they really are. And I'm curious about this because we talk about this offline. We'll see people post themselves in provocative to very little clothing. And which is great that they're really proud of their bodies. And I think it's awesome. And they're trying to make a statement. But I also feel it's like a double-edged sword because you're sending the wrong message. It can be interpreted as saying the wrong message, but also like there's this incessant need for attention. And my first question to you, Greggy T, is why do you think people these days are so attention starved?
I think most people are attention starved because they're I just think their values are a little skewed. Something might have happened to them, or they don't have some sort of familial foundation, if you want to go like super deep. But I just think that they don't they're not okay with themselves. So they're just outreaching at any level they can to get some sort of attention. And especially nowadays, I think even negative attention is good attention. Obviously, I mean, just look on any social media platform, and it's a mess. So I think, and it's a slippery slope when you play that game, because we've spoken about this many times. You get labeled a certain thing, like a victim or something else, but it's not the real you. But you're just and it's addictive, I think. So when you start getting a little bit of attention, and you see that whatever you did to do that worked, you're going to do it again, even though that same scenario that called you the first time might not be there. You have to now recreate that to get that same level, and if not more. And then you have to get more extreme, and then it just could lead you down a whole path of complete false lifestyle.
Yeah, and I agree. It is false because social media gives you a taste of what other
Hmm.
people are supposedly living, how they're acting, how they're being, and
Yeah.
you compare yourself to that, and it kind of like, well, I need to be validated as well, especially after you go through. I think a breakup is kind of something that it's a trauma that hits people pretty hard, so they want to put their best foot forward. I'm going to prove that person wrong, or I'm going to show my body off, and then when you give someone the attention, they get shocked, like, oh, like I can't believe he hit on me, or oh, this girl's crazy. Why is she hitting me up? So
Yeah.
that's the thing that people have to be careful of, I think, and we're going to tap into that in a second. The message that you as an individual put out there. I know me. I'm very like when I shut down, I shut down. If something happens to me, I don't put my goals out on social media for the world to see. I keep it to myself. But that's just me, and maybe I'm a fool for doing that. I don't know if you're like that as well.
I'm definitely like that. I don't put anything out there.
Right. So it's kind of like I don't need to like, okay, so I break up with somebody and I don't need to put a post about being alone. About I mean, I'm guilty of that. I have done that in the past. I did it like once. That was my lesson learned. Now I'm like, I guess maybe with age comes maturity and wisdom, but now I'm like, I wouldn't put that out there for
Definitely.
anybody.
Definitely.
But what do you think the pros and cons are, Greg? Let's get some pros here. Putting it out there on social media, what do you think the pros are of putting that type of strife out there to kind of get the validation or the attention that I think people are seeking?
So the example I'm gonna say is for a pro is if it's completely genuine, and if it really, if the reason why you're putting it out there is to help someone else, either A, not go through with it, or help them get out of what they're in, completely okay with that. You hear me say it a lot, the Sean Ryan show. It's it's taken off for a reason. I think he just passed his third year doing it, and he's like top 3 podcasts. It's for a reason. He doesn't answer to anybody. He does what he wants to do. He has all the guests on that he wants to have. There's no underlying theme, there's no hidden agenda. And he started with military guys. A lot of the special forces guys came on, told their stories, because a lot of them have a hard time transitioning when they get out of the military. A lot of them are fucked up. A lot of them have they're on like literally 20 to 30 meds. And suicide's a huge thing in that community. And he had a couple people on that opened up and shared their story, and they went into explicit detail. And it's helped hundreds, if not thousands, of post-war veterans get the help they needed, or get in the direction they needed, start the business that they needed to, that the afterlife of after the military. And God only knows how many people didn't kill themselves because they listened to those episodes where the people were completely vulnerable and put all their shit out there. I mean, they left no stone unturned, and these are some of the hardcore dudes on the planet, and their stories will crush you. but they did it to help somebody. I think that's 100% positive, all pro.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think in a context like that, where
Hmm.
you have whether you're going through addiction, like our friend Ginny,
Yep.
who shares her stories and her struggles, and I think
Yep.
that can connect and resonate with people. And I do believe that is, I agree with you on the pro part of that. But then again, as we go into the next phase, the cons. What are the cons of putting it out there and putting everything out there for social media to be scrutinized and to get attention?
All right, the cons for me are if it's not authentic, if you're doing it just for views, likes, to make money, which I'm sure we'll get into in a little bit about this, it's the negative attention seeking. It's just doing it to do it. And when there's no truth behind it, and when it's going to sound extreme, it just poisons society. You have younger and younger kids going on social media and they're looking at all these false narratives for people just wanting attention. Imagine if all of that was not there and it was just positive stories or people overcoming certain things, pro business, building people up instead of tearing them down, which is all you see. So I think that's a huge negative right now, and it's growing.
I agree. I agree. I think I think while people like to see people happy, you don't want to see someone doing better than you. It's an old kind of adage. You know, it kind of
When
resonates.
you just made me think of something when people started hearing that you and I were going to do this, when people started hearing that I'm going to be, opening up Forever Progress to the public, basically, I forgot who it was. They're like, watch when the hate starts to come, you're onto something. It's a good thing. And also with that comes, when you own a page or if you're tracking data and analytics, you can see who's watching, you can see where they're watching. And it's funny because that audience is exponentially growing. We can see that in the background. However, a lot of them don't vocalize their support.
Mm,
A lot of them won't hit subscribe because they're afraid of something. I don't know. But it's funny to see that. It just
yeah,
reminded me of that.
kind of like what's going on in our country politically, right?
100%.
A little strange.
a hundred
Anyway,
percent.
moving on. Here's one thing that I find interesting. I have a lot of quote unquote friends on Facebook, which is cool. And you see people's stories, and I noticed that some of the females I'm friends with will often have themselves either in a bikini or workout clothes or something, and they'll have like like boss babe or like warrior or like something that kind of like will describe that story, which is great. But I also see a lot of negative in that as well, because I feel like it's kind of like a teaser for someone to reach out and say, "Hey, you look great," or "Hey, way to go," or "Hey, sometimes a guy can reach out if they see that, and then there'll be like no response, and then they'll be like, "Oh, he just like likes me," and I know people are thinking, "Oh, did that happen to you?" I'm like, "Well, I
They
have
slid into
friends.
my DMs, Mike.
They
They
slid into my
slid into my
DMs."
DMs.
Right? I
Mhm.
mean, I have friends from high school that'll do that, and I'll reach out. I mean, I have like dudes I went to high school with. They're like, "Hey, are you okay?" If they put something that I feel is problematic, or just to say, "Hey, if you need to talk, here you go." But
Yeah.
Greg, what do you think the problem with that is? Like, what do you think that, or let me rephrase it another way. Do you think it's an effective way for someone to get validation?
Listen, if you're going off the definition of effective, yeah, it's effective because people will slide into the DMs and you'll leave that door open a little bit. Even if you don't respond, it's there. You're allowing that. So is it technically effective? Yeah, it's effective. I'm not saying it's right. That's a different question, but it's definitely effective, or else you wouldn't see the majority of people doing it.
So then why do it though? It's like, why would someone, would you say, strive for that type of attention? People are going to slide into your DMs, and then
Mhm.
what? Do you answer them? Do you not answer them? Do you accumulate how many people you can get? Um,
That's
I
up to
don't understand.
that's up to the individual. Whatever they want to do with that, it's up to them. They have to come to terms with why they posted or are posting what they're doing. And if they're getting their attention or messages, then it's up to them what they want to do with it. Then
Now,
maybe
I
they're not
think,
happy with something. I don't know.
yeah, and one thing that we've learned just in doing this podcast, and I think just the way, even with the wrestling shows I'm involved with,
Hmm.
it's share, repost, like,
Yeah.
share, repost, like. So it's a constant thing. And I think we
Hmm.
talk about this, jokingly offline about content, right? And how everyone's putting out
I fucking
content.
hate that word. I hate that word.
So the term content is kind of loosely, transcribed.
Mm.
I feel like that could be kind of a double negative for someone, especially a girl, if you're going to put a message out there and then wonder why someone would reach out and make a comment, or it's almost kind of like you're setting yourself up for something, So I don't know if that's an effective way of validating yourself. For me, maybe I would put a picture of myself in my apartment where no one else can see it, and I could look at it and train the eye to validate myself. It's like, the more you see, the more you'll be able to absorb. Like, I would never
Yeah.
put a picture of myself. Not that anyone would want to see me in a bikini anyway. It would be kind of pretty bad at this phase of life. But I mean, just to get the validation, I mean, I would just kind of keep it to myself, or
Hmm.
have a picture of what I strive to look like. I don't know. Does that make sense, Greg? Or am I talking like I'm in
It,
2001?
listen, man, it makes sense to me, but we are dinosaurs this day and age, apparently. So, I mean, listen, a lot of people nowadays don't like the truth. They can't handle the truth. And guys like us and then our crew just tell you how it is. It's just facts are facts, right? So when you see two girls like, oh, we're going to make content later, you're just gonna go do a porno film, which is cool. Yo, go do it. That's fine, but call it what it is. That is not content. You're just making a film with somebody and that's it. You're trying to get some bucks. You want to make money, that's fine. I am not hating on it. Everyone knows I'm pro business and I don't really care what you do, but just call it what it is. You know, it's crazy. I mean, I don't know. Is whatever content. It's not content.
Well, now that we can not get
Hey,
so
listen, I'm
much,
gonna go do
yeah.
some marketing outside of Studio 54 in the 80s. No, I'm selling cocaine. I'm just selling cocaine. It's cool. But no, it would be called marketing nowadays. It's not content. It is what it is. And I'm not hating. Just be real. Please. Guys like us see it a mile ahead.
Yeah.
It's the other people that just don't get it and they're dorks. And I blame them for what's going on. I blame them for OnlyFans. Like you're giving your hard-earned money to some trash bag. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. You go to these girls' pages, you hit their link tree, and it's 5 different accounts for them to get your money. And you're dumb enough to give them your money. So shame on you.
Yeah,
Just saying.
OnlyFans has been one of the best ways to
I wish I invented it.
entice capitalism. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable and good.
Mhm.
Hey, listen, you know what? If that's your thing, God bless, man. It's
No,
hey,
I'm not hating on it.
yeah,
But
yeah,
just
yeah,
you're not a model. You're not making content.
yeah.
Just call it what it is. You're like a virtual whore. It's all good. It's all good. Just keep it real, please. And stop with the inspirational quotes when you can't even tie your shoes on a Monday or pay your rent or get anything yourself. Please stop with the inspirational quotes. And if you're fat, you're not a fitness model. Hate to break it to you.
Woo!
Yeah. Yeah, I'll bring in 2024 starting like this. And I know everyone that knows us is laughing right now, but they know I'm right and they agree with me. Yo, if you're fat, you're not a fitness model. We know plenty of fitness models. We grew up around it. I had a supplement store. Those are real fitness models, not somebody that's 52 pounds overweight just because they throw on a bathing suit and they take a picture somewhere. You're not a fitness model. You're a plus size model,
Exactly. Or yeah, yeah.
or
I
you're just
would
not a model.
agree.
you're creating and you're seeking attention. Go for it.
Right. And that again, you go back to the bigger picture. It could be a familial thing. It could be lack of a, if you don't approve of yourself, then there's probably some underlying issue which should cause you to put pictures of yourself. Like, listen, the double-edged sword. I'm proud of my body. I'm proud of that. God bless you. I think it's
Absolutely.
awesome.
I'm not saying that. So don't,
Yeah.
people listening, don't misconstrue that. I am all for being proud of your body. That is not what I'm
Yep.
saying. I'm talking, keep it real with what you say you're doing.
100%.
That's it. It's just the hard
100%.
truth. It's just the hard truth.
Yeah, and listen, now, girls, we're gonna get a little bit, something that is good for both. Guys do the same thing. I mean, you'll see guys that'll put posts up there, about like they'll go through a breakup and they're gonna just, they'll put like inspirational quotes up or I'm gonna crush this or whatnot. Again, for guys, that can also be a bad thing as well,
It's
and
100% a two-way street. You're absolutely
yeah.
right. Works both
So
ways.
we'll flip the perspective here, Greg. What do you think with a guy that does that? Like, what could that lead to in a negative way when you're putting it out there? Like, I will never, hurt comes in so many different forms. Like when you're hurt, you're hurt. Obviously,
Yeah.
you got to put it out there. But what do you think the benefits are of someone doing that? Is that a valid way for a guy? Is that an effective way for a guy to gain validation?
Listen, I think it's a two-way street. I don't think it matters if you're a guy or a girl. It's equal. It can be positive for the examples that I said, but it's just the same negatives as I just went through with the females as it is for the guys. And I'll say, yo, where are your boys at to help ground you and help, slow the bleeding or switch your mindset or just help you? Same with the girls. Where are your girls to have your back? Girls are a little different than guys. But, we're talking about guys now. Your boys that's when they rally. And that's when you can lean on them and be vulnerable and be cool. And your true friends will help you and they'll pick you up. And you're not going to have to do it the negative way.
Yeah, and I think that again, and that could be too one thing that you just brought to light. Maybe they don't have the support system, and they're looking
Most don't.
for it
Most don't
virtually.
have a real, I think you're right. Most don't have a real support system.
You
Like
know,
it's funny. You saw the movie The Town.
years ago. Yeah,
It's like, oh, I need your help. Don't ask where we're going. We're gonna hurt some people. And the guy's like, well, whose car are we taking? That's the brotherhood I'm talking about. We have that in our crew. Everyone nowadays, you see it on social media, all these dorks and all these people, they want that, but they don't have that. And everyone thinks they are that. When was the last time a friend called you to do something not necessarily good and you didn't even hesitate or ask? Because I know I've done it a million times. My friends have done it a million times, and that's a good thing to have that. Everyone wants certain things, but they don't have it at the end of the day. But they want to give the
right,
optics. Like I see that people post that all the time, and it's like you don't even know the first thing about that. You're not doing that, and your friends
right,
definitely aren't doing that. So stop.
right. No, I agree. People want the end result, but they're not looking to do the work to get to that end result. They
Yeah.
just want that instant gratification.
Hmm.
And I think with guys too, it's guys are just as guilty as girls in regards to the false narrative of
Absolutely.
comparison.
Absolutely. I'm not hating on girls. Guys are the same way.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I've done it. I'm guilty of it. Where you see someone and you're like, oh, why are they so happy, or why do they have this, or why do they have
Yeah.
that, and but you don't know what goes on behind the phone.
Hmm.
It's like you said, the optic of
Yeah.
this guy's putting it out there. Like I'm cool being alone. I've seen videos where guys will go on podcasts and they like marriage is not for me. Because it just gives the girl the opportunity to cheat and I got to pay out. I saw that just recently, and I'm thinking to
Yeah.
myself, well, that gives a false narrative about marriage because not all marriage is bad. I mean, it's
It's
true to
his
an extent,
it's his personal experience, and that's
right?
his opinion, and he's
Right,
completely
completely
entitled to
entitled
it,
to
and
it,
he's answering the question the way he wants to, and he can do that.
right? And
So,
then it could lead to the false narrative where if he is recognized, he may be deemed unapproachable because he's so wounded and so scarred, and
yeah,
he's not opening himself up to possibly meeting a nice person, or it
yeah,
kind of paints himself as, I think we talk about victimhood.
yep, Listen,
And
you're absolutely right, but it's all depends on what he wants. Maybe he
exactly.
doesn't want to meet anybody anymore, that's fine. But if he deep down truly wants to, or maybe he's just not ready yet, that's his call. But yeah, he is endangering himself in the short term, at least, doing that and putting that out there. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's almost like a cry for help in a way. Like when you see like a girl that talks about what like a warrior she is, and like
Ugh,
maybe she just got dumped or something. Now there, the other end of that, I'll play both sides of the spectrum. Maybe she's going through an illness and she's trying to inspire other people, or because I've seen that with people that have overcome cancer and other
of
types of
course.
diseases, and I think
Mhm.
that's amazing. I mean, I've had friends that
Injuries,
do it.
all of that.
Injuries,
Absolutely.
you can take
Absolutely.
the, but when like it's provocative and it's
Mhm.
it's meant to entice someone to, hey, you're given that opening for someone to reach out to you, and it becomes more of like a, I want to get attention from guys type of thing. And guys are the same way. It becomes kind of an oxymoron in a way. And I think, I don't think that's an effective way of getting validation, but that's just my opinion
I agree.
when it comes to that. But if that suits you, that's fine. I think we need to look at different ways to validate ourselves instead of, you know, putting it out there like, okay, I got dumped or I got hurt or I got this or I got that. I don't need to make a million posts about, how I'm feeling
How about you figure out
unless,
why you got dumped in the first place? Maybe take a step back and see, why did I get dumped? Now,
right,
maybe what they said is not true, or maybe what they said is true. And if it's true, you have work to do. Instead of taking the time to do all the bullshit posts and do all that shit, why don't you try to help yourself so you don't run into that problem again? Because you can only sweep something under the rug for so much, and then it will come out the other end. So you might as well
simple
just
as
get rid of it.
right. And then take that experience and say, hey, this is what I learned. I can help other people instead of like
Exactly.
my first inclination is to go to social media and to make
Hmm.
posts and to seek that validation. And,
Hmm.
unfortunately, in our crew, in our extended crew, there have been situations where, immediately it's like your business is already out there. And,
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm very private, so I don't like to keep my
I'm super
business
private.
myself. So, you know, I
Yeah.
don't know. It's a different world there, Greg T. Moving on. You know, we talked about the provocative pictures. I think, you see a lot of guys that are jacked up. Like back in
Mhm.
the day, it'd be like getting ready for Memorial Day weekend. So like, you worked out, you hit it hard.
Neptunes. Shout out to
Neptunes,
Neptunes.
right? Or Montauk, right? Searles and Surf Lodge, right?
Mm.
Just crushing it. I think there's a negative connotation with provocative content. And I think again, you're sending the wrong message unless that's the message you want to send. But
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like during the pandemic where we were isolated and you wanted that human connection. So your inclination is to go to porn, go to this, go to that to kind of give you that sense of intimacy. So it creates that false narrative of intimacy.
Mhm.
Let me ask you a question. Are there any pros and cons of posting provocative content like that? Or is it just, hey, depending on what your goal is, it's not really good or bad. It's kind of a neutral gray area.
So, putting my business hat on, it's a pro if that's your business. If you do have websites and OnlyFans and things where you make money, sure, go for it because there's your business card and you're getting it out there. So, yeah, there's a pro for that. It's a great platform to get more business. You have a bigger reach, you have a bigger platform, and now you can reach more people and they can see that you have this and they'll subscribe if they want to. So it's a good moneymaker if that's your goal. But if you're like a housewife that's happily married and has kids or whatever, and you're doing the same type of photos, I'm sorry, that's a different undertone there. Maybe you're not getting something somewhere. Maybe you wish you were something else. I don't know, but that's different to me. I don't think that's positive, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, I guess everyone's perspective of positivity is different.
It is. It is. Mhm.
Unfortunately, I think you've seen a lot of people prostitute themselves in regards to like a husband prostituting his wife.
Yeah.
Take pictures, what I'm saying, or and vice versa. It could be both ways
Mhm.
too.
Yeah.
So it's a double edged sword. So I think again, I think it comes down to values. You mentioned that earlier,
Mhm.
and getting to the root of the problem. But I think a lot of people are afraid to even get to that root. right? My buddy said you got to plant the seed before you can plant the root. So, if the seed's not fertilized properly, then that root's going to come up all like discarded and distorted. Is that fair to say, Greg?
Yeah, it is. Yep.
So, how do you think we can effectively gain validation if we're living in a world where we're constantly seeking attention for our business, for ourselves, for our
Hmm.
self-esteem? What are some constructive ways of gaining validation for ourselves?
Listen, the only answer I have to that is just stay genuine to your cause and your message. If it's something you're passionate about and you have a you want to pay it forward, or you want to educate people, or if you want to help people, not make the mistakes you did, just stay true to that. Everything else will come. It's definitely not going to be on the same pace as somebody that's whoring themselves out or doing provocative things. That's different. They can get a lot of likes in a day. But if you're doing genuine stuff, it's going to take a long time, and just don't get discouraged. Don't compare yourself to somebody that's just doing that. That's like, fast drug money. I look at it like that. You're in this slow and steady. You're building a career, you're building a business, you're building a brand. That takes time when you're doing it the right way. That's my opinion. So it's getting back to the Sean Ryan thing. He started out just doing and putting the people on that he wanted. And it took a little bit, but when it took off, man, off to the races after that, because it was just genuine. There was no changing of anything, nothing pivoted. He didn't do anything different. He just stayed steady on the course. It's like what we're doing. We're gaining a lot of exposure. We're getting a lot of more messages, and we have a lot of things lined up for this year, but we do slow and steady because we're not talking about the same bullshit that all these other people are talking about every day. And you're not going to get the speed at which you see these others. So just be ready for that, but just stay in your lane, and be true to your message, and everything else will eventually come. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It's consistency, right?
Hmm.
That's the key.
Genuine consistency.
Yeah. And along those lines, I think we see, like, I see the word gratitude get thrown around a lot. Like, oh, like, you'll see gratitude shirts or gratitude hats or gratitude hats. Awesome. Right.
Hmm.
So I think one of the ways that we can take some of the negativity out of some of these social media posts that get discarded is just before you post anything, just leave me a gratitude list. Like, I'm grateful for X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z. And then maybe you'll reconsider, like, "Well, maybe I don't want to post that because I'll send the wrong message." Or, like, what if this gets out there and I have to go for a job interview and they go to Google search me and then this is the first thing that comes up?
It,
You know?
it's funny you just mentioned that. I saw a clip yesterday, and it was one of the top high school football programs. I don't remember what state it was in, but they had some of the D1 recruits there, and the recruit, one of the recruits, I don't know what college, said they all gathered them around, and they're like, it was like an open like Q&A, like the kids can ask the recruiters like, any question they want. And one of the kids like, what are you looking for? And the guy goes, or what's the first thing you look at? Is it our tape? Is it our grades? And the guy goes, nope. And the kids are like, what? And he's like, we pull up your social media account. And I was like, yes, I know where he's going with this. And he goes, we pull that up first. We don't look at anything else. We pull it up. If we don't like what we see, if you're hating on women, if you're cursing, you're fucking around with guns, you're doing all the dumb shit. He goes, we won't look at your tape. We throw it away and we're done with you that fast. Their faces were like, and the ones that had that face, yeah, you're done. So how many accounts got deleted and like new ones created that day, which is fine. But that was a great message, I think, that was sent to those young men. And I know for a fact a lot of them listened up, because at the end of the day, their dreams of pursuing football are a lot greater than just putting bullshit out there on social media. That was a great thing that recruit said. And I think more of that needs to be done.
Yeah, I wonder why it's more of that's not being done.
Because society, I think, has changed their values. Values have gone down, and everyone's afraid to offend. Everyone's afraid to take a stand for what they believe in. and then you mix that in with, family values have gone down, two parent households have gone down, and the bashing of the male figure that's gone down. None of this is a good recipe to help that. So it's no wonder why.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think, and again, we talk about this all the time about social media being, can be positive, can be also very
Yeah.
negative. I just feel like there's just this incessant need for attention
Hmm.
from people, and I realize, we laugh about content, but I guess it is, if, like, again, with your business, putting your business hat on, your business now going pretty much all, mostly digital. It's putting out videos, it's putting out posts, especially if you're in the fitness field or something
Yeah, but
where
I'm
your
yeah, but we're
body's your
putting out
business.
information. We're giving
Right.
value. We're giving free value and free advice and experience that people can actually and tangibly use in their business. That, in my opinion, is content because that's real stuff. It's not just a porn video. That's not content. That's just a porn video. It's fine.
Right. Right, and that person can, and if that's that person's industry or that's what they're looking
There you go.
for,
Yeah.
they can
Hmm.
interpret that as, and I'm
Hmm.
along the lines with you. I think content is information,
Hmm.
valid information that people can use in their,
Yep.
for their lives. And, I guess that, again, that word content is interchangeably loose
Yeah.
and can be used to cover a lot of genres, and
Hmm.
I just feel like, I think if we could just get away from the social media stuff and focus more on our inner selves, and really truly can be comfortable being alone and be like, you know what, like, I love myself, I respect myself, I appreciate myself, or all these things alone. I think, when it comes to social media, your posts will be more, I think, thoughtful and more and people will pick up on that. Is that safe to say, Greg?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you're growing at a slow and steady pace and you're putting information out there and value, I think you're growing slow and steady for a reason because of what you just said. People are appreciative and they understand what you're putting out there. You're not all over the place. You're not just attention seeking one post, semi porno picture and this, and then trying to hit them with business or inspiration. That's a joke to me because you're just like, throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks. But if you're slow and steady and you're giving a message and giving real stuff, well, there you go. The proof is in the growth, the slow growth. Everyone wants instant satisfaction now and instant gratification and overnight success. You know this, when you're building a business, that does not happen. When you're building a brand, it takes time.
Yeah, and I think, just thinking about it now, attention and marketing, I think those two kind of overlap in a way,
Mhm.
depending on how you view things.
Yeah.
Because,
Well, marketing is trying to get attention for your business.
yeah,
It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just, what are you trying to do? What's your end goal? If you just want to be like, listen, the window for a girl is short. You hear one of our friends say it all the time.
right,
You want to do OnlyFans, that's fine. Do you have an exit plan? Do you have
right,
a retirement strategy? What are you going to do after that? And by the
right.
way, people are going to know who you are. So are you going to go to apply for a job? How's that going to work? Because they're going to find you and you think they're going to take you serious. I guarantee you they won't.
Yeah,
And you want to
yeah,
have a family later on. Number one, are you going to be able to have a family? That's number one. And number two, what are you going to tell your kids? A lot of things to think about, but a lot of people are short sighted and they don't have the long term vision. So it's fine. Listen, if a girl wants to do OnlyFans for 5 years, crush it, make a ton of money, and invest and buy real estate and do all that stuff, go for it. That's fine. But everything has a consequence.
yeah.
Everything.
Hey, I told you that story about when I bought my Mercedes. Now everyone
Yeah.
knows I got,
Yeah.
the girl in front of me bought a G wagon, right?
Yep.
And,
Cash, right?
her she got approved for a
Mm-hmm.
$220,000 car loan. I don't know how much she put down, but on her W-2, whatever it was, she made over $1 million
Mm-hmm.
on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
And she drove off with a 2022 like G Wagon, which I was like, holy smokes,
Mm-hmm.
But again, every choice is a consequence. And everything has a price. Like, what price are you willing to pay
Of
for
course.
the attention that you're looking for? It can be very healthy in regards to just kind of letting yourself shine through. I know it's kind of like a cliche. It can be kind of corny, like letting that light inside of you shine through. I think a lot of us are afraid to let that light shine through because
Hmm.
it's not real. Where I think social media tends to blur that line. Where the more likes I get, the more people that slide in my DMs, the more people that comment on my stuff, that will allow me to feel good about myself without feeling
Hmm.
good about myself prior to making a post. And
Yep.
it's a slippery slope that people, I think, tend to go down, and they need to be aware. And again, they need to be more thought provoking in whatever their goal is. You really should think about what you're putting out there, regardless of what your end game is.
You're absolutely right. One question you got to ask yourself and continually: is it worth it? Is it worth it?
Right.
Is it worth a G wagon to do whatever it is that girl's doing? And
Right.
maybe it is to her, and that's cool. But I mean,
Right.
I know. I mean, we don't give a shit about things like that, but we're different.
And
So
who is the girl that, now I'm thinking about it, she bottled her own gas in a jar. She was selling it for like, I think she went to the hospital. 'Cause she was eating eggs and beans for like a week straight. And that's
mhm,
all she ate. And,
mhm.
it's like, it's pretty intense though to do that just to make, X amount of dollars a week. But again, what she did with that money, did it validate herself? So I mean,
Maybe it paid for her health coverage. Cobra.
yeah, I was gonna say probably all that money went to her healthcare, and it's and
Yeah.
it's guys too. I don't want people to think that this is just about the girl narrative. It's the guy narrative because guys do this as well.
Yeah.
It is and for anyone out there that is going through that, I think a validation comes from within, and I think you should really just sit alone with yourself and really get to know yourself a little bit and understand, like you talked about values, you know, understanding how to respect yourself, understanding how to love yourself, because it all ties in, it all blends in, Greg.
Yep. Yep.
So, and this is a tough topic because it's something that people aren't really talking about.
Because no
It's
one wants to hear the truth. That's
No one
all
wants
it
to hear
is.
the truth, and it's more
Nope.
like a bash fest. Like you'll see like these little clips about a guy going on some girl's podcast and she'll
Yeah.
hammer him with questions and vice
Mhm,
versa. And
mhm.
it's like, we're not here to hammer things. We're just bringing things to light.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's a stimulus for
Mhm.
conversation. But
Like, the big thing now is,
yeah,
like, body count. What's your body count? Like, what's a proper body count for a girl? What's a proper body count? I don't care about that stuff.
you mean
That stuff
partners? Is that what that means?
yeah, that
Partners?
means, like, how many people you've been with. I don't care about that stuff.
Wow.
I mean, I care about the person, and how they treat you. At the end of the day, I'm old now, so I that's all I care about, but it's like all these body count things, like, that's the one of the biggest topics now. Who cares? Who cares?
Like, when we were younger, I remember people would ask you like certain questions, and I
Yeah, the hot
I,
seat. Yep.
I never saw the
Ask
relevance
away.
of it.
Ask
Yeah,
away.
I never saw the relevance. I don't care how many.
I don't get it.
Don't
I don't
matter to
get it.
me. So even if it's more in the hundreds, I don't. As long as you're clean, we're good, man. Because I'm
I
no
don't get it.
saint. No one's perfect. No one walks on water in this realm. So you
No. I
know,
mean, a lot of the girls are getting heat online doing these body count things, and listen, they might be the only thing I get, like, nervous about is because they're so young and their body count's so high. That's a little, like, disconcerting, but other than that, if you have a high body count, I don't care. I don't care.
yeah,
There's more important things than that, in
yeah.
my opinion. In my
I
opinion.
I agree. But again, with them being so young, there could be problems down the road. You
Absolutely.
know, And
Absolutely.
it's more the medical things. I think, for a girl, their bodies are so intricate. You've got like HPV, you've got other types of reproductive
There's
issues that can
there
happen.
yeah, there's that, but there's also listen, the stigma for a girl to have a high body count is still not in their favor in this day and age.
True.
Even with the OnlyFans and all that shit, it's still when someone hears somebody's their body count is X and she's a girl, you're gonna get looked at a certain way and labeled real quick. It is what it is. I'm not saying it's right, obviously, if you just listen to anything I just said, because I don't care about that stuff. But it's still going to get looked at negative, and you're going to get labeled a certain thing, and you're not going to be able to get certain things you may want down the road.
I agree. Yeah, that's a kind of a great way to end this off here, Greggy T. I think that's a great way to end it. Because again, we could go around in circles talking about this topic.
And obviously, I'm not hating on girls at all. I'm not. I just want people to be real. That's it. Just keep it real.
And I think that's a challenge these days because social media allows you to hide behind certain variables that can allow you to project this image of who maybe you want to be instead of who you actually really are.
Of course.
And that's another false negative that people need to be aware of, like going down that road. So really hope that people were able to take away some things today. We got a big month ahead of us. We're trying to get some guests lined up for the month. We're going to hopefully bring on another entrepreneur because we want to just kind of highlight an entrepreneur a month here like we have with Amanda and keep that going.
Yeah, I'm trying to schedule something with her husband in February. Cool. She can come on again in February as well. And we have some other people, some great young entrepreneurs that are interested, and we have a bunch of financial questions for them in different areas, which is cool. So
yeah, and I'm waiting to hear back from Patrick. Because I want him to come on. And, Patrick Wanis, Dr. Patrick Wanis is my life coach. Was my life coach, a good friend.
I dropped you off there. Yep.
Yeah, that was the start. And
what year was that?
2007. Yeah, that changed. That changed the game for me, man. Changed the game for me. So he's an amazing guy, and I think definitely with some of the things that we've encountered over the last year and other things that in our life, he can really kind of shed some light on certain things that I think everyone goes through. And a life coach is different from a psychologist. I think definitely. I think it's different. It's like everyone's a life coach or this or that, but
that I was just gonna say, unfortunately.
Yeah,
that term has been diluted and watered down, just like, I'm a real estate coach. That's been diluted. It's unfortunate. The real ones are there, and you can sift through all the bullshit, which is fine, but it doesn't mean the same as it did. It's like when you and I are growing up, somebody went to Harvard or UPenn, or those are big deals. Those are real big deals. Now it doesn't mean fucking shit. Like I just laugh now, like, okay, that doesn't mean anything. So it's kind of the same way. It just doesn't hold the same weight, unfortunately.
I think Harvard's the only place you can go, lose your job as president, but maintain your almost $1 million a year salary. I think that's pretty
got a lot of things going for. It's cool.
Yeah. And she can't even explain to people what anti-Semitism is.
Not allowed to.
I feel bad for the Harvard graduates out there that actually gain something from that.
I don't feel bad for them. I feel bad for the old school ones. But I don't feel bad for anybody there now. That's your choice.
Yeah, the Ivy League schools are kind of disappointing when you see
the whole college system is a joke now.
Yeah,
it's nowhere near what it was. That needs a reset too, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, again, this is the first episode of 2024, and we got 11 months to get this thing straight because the rhetoric out there is scary. That there's some people that actually think that the country's much better off than it was 4 years ago, which blows my mind, but I've had these conversations in the last couple days, and
I'd like to have some. I'd love to have that. So,
it's definitely interesting to see what people think out there. So, it should be quite a ride we're in for this year, pal. But it's me and you and the Empowerman community and the Empowerman family, so it's kind of cool.
That's it, man. That's us. That's all we got. So. Thanks everybody for listening, and as always, stay safe out there, and we got some more stuff coming your way. Mike,
God bless everyone.
Have a good rest of the day, sir.
You too, sir.